Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Alex Szymanski. I'm the CEO of Scrypt, and welcome to our sneak peek webinar at Scrypt, the product, today, June 4th. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes just giving those people that haven't had a background on the company just a little kind of taste of that, and talk about why we developed, why we created Scrypt, and then I'm going to hand over to Mari Westbury, product manager of Scrypt, and she's going to give you a sort of a 20-minute run through a demo. It won't be everything, but it'll give you sort of a taste of where we are right now and where we're going. And then we have about sort of 5 minutes or so at the end for Q&A. So if you have any questions, what we've done is just email those questions to questions@scrypt.com, and we'll be picking those up at the end. And any that we don't get to answer, we'll come back individually to everybody. Just to let everybody know, because some people haven't been able to make this call, we're actually going to record it, and we may put it online. So if that isn't acceptable to you, then appreciate, you might come off this call right now. Okay, so for the first couple of minutes, I just want to talk about the company and talk about Scrypt. So our focus is on document management and delivery, and we've been that in healthcare since 1998. We have a sort of internal mantra around work confident. We want customers, healthcare providers using our products to work better with confidence. Our goal is to help you streamline document workflow, the processes, and help you protect sensitive and critical information. And that, in turn, will help you save time and money and minimize the risks we all know you face today. Across the board, we have tens of thousands of customers, from small providers up to large organizations, and across the breadth of healthcare as well, and across 50 states. I took over the company in 2009, and since then we've grown revenue greater than 50% year on year. And we're investing this year in further growth, so we'll be up to something like 55 people by the end of the year. So we're very serious about what we're doing and about the products that we're bringing to market. And Scrypt as a product is the sort of new wave of our approach into things. Now, we've been developing and supporting our cloud faxing product, SFax, since something like 2007. But we recognize that healthcare providers have enormous challenges today, and we talk about kind of drowning in documents, and you guys need new ways to manage, process, and exchange documents. And we live in an increasingly complex and challenging world with more threats, more security breaches than ever. And yet we have recent studies showing that the way people are managing documents is becoming more decentralized, with individuals using multiple file sharing and consumer tools to get their job done, which leaves a trail of duplicated and uncontrolled files and lots of risk. So about 18 months ago, we began creating Scrypt, a truly centralized, secure, HIPAA-compliant cloud platform designed specifically to safeguard healthcare documents. Now, today, for ease, we're going to just demonstrate Scrypt in a web interface, but we'll also be launching desktop versions both for PC, Windows, and for the Mac, apps for both mobile and tablet, iOS and Android, and a little bit later this year, we'll have an API for integrations. And the other piece we're doing is, because we see Scrypt as a platform, we're looking about connecting Scrypt into other applications. Indeed, if you have ideas right now or requests for specific integrations, then send that email through to questions@scrypt.com, because we'd love to hear from you so we can get it onto our roadmap. So what does Scrypt do? Well, in a nutshell, it provides a platform for HIPAA-compliant document storage and secure business processes. We use military-grade 256-bit AES and TLS encryption to protect those documents both at rest and in transit. And we do that across multiple secured SSAE 16 SOC 2 data centers. So, top spec data centers. And we also believe that we should put you in the kind of driving seat in terms of compliance. So we obviously sign business associate agreements, but we give you full access to reporting, logging of every action around at a document level, role-based permissions, access controls, audit trails, all the kind of things that you need to both get your job done and control how you want to run your organization. And with Scrypt, you just get one flexible account. So it doesn't matter if you've got multiple organizations, multiple locations, as many users as you like. Essentially, you can share one account and organize within that singular account. Our philosophy and the way we think about Scrypt is every organization, every healthcare provider in the US should have Scrypt in their armory. It should be part of the tools every day. And that's why you'll be able to create an account for free without any credit card and then customize your plan and upgrade as you need, as your needs demand. So there you go. That's a kind of a quick run through the background of us as a company and in terms of the product. And I'd like to now hand you over to Mari Westbury, product manager of Scrypt, to give you a short demo. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mari. So control has been handed over to me, and you should be seeing the Scrypt app on your screen right now. So hopefully you're right there along with me. I'm going to go ahead and get logged in. So I'm logging in as Dr. Tester. I'm going to enter my password. And when I click submit, you'll notice, whoop, guess it would help if I entered the correct information. So you're going to notice that a PIN is coming to me. And this is because I have MultiFactor authentication turned on, so it's just an extra layer of security, which will protect anyone who might get a hold of your username and or your password from getting into your account. Having trouble typing today. Sorry about that. And we're in. So you'll notice when we log in that we have three main sections. We've got Workspaces, Contacts, and Settings. So in your Workspaces is where all the real productivity is going to happen. So you'll notice over here I have three different workspaces, and these are noted by these little file boxes. This is my own private workspace. I'm not sharing with anyone, but I'm sharing these other two workspaces with a few other members of my organization. So you'll have custom folders you can set up. Your documents will reside in these folders, and then you can drag and drop or move between workspaces, upload documents, anything you would do on a day-to-day basis, just managing your documents. But I want to continue on through these sections before we come back to Workspaces and kind of have some fun playing around with documents. So we'll go on to Contacts. So you'll notice here I have two contacts in my database right now. We've got two shared contacts. One is Nick and one is Paula. You'll see the little teal stripe over here. This is indicating that there is Scrypt, another Scrypt contact. So when we go to this contact, you're going to see the fax number up here that's entered. This is being found in our Scrypt database, so that's how we know it's another Scrypt contact. And the good news is when you send anything to these Scrypt contacts, it's free of charge. So those of you who may be using our SFax product right now might be familiar with being charged per page for faxes. Well, if you send Scrypt to Scrypt, you're not going to be charged for those. So within the contacts, you'll be able to set them up into groups. You'll notice I have a couple of groups set up. Patients, ENTs, maybe other specialties might be set up here, however you need to use it. And then you can also have private contacts, meaning that anyone else in your organization who logs in isn't going to see those contacts. Let's go on to settings, because this is really the meat of the product and kind of how it all is set up and managed on the back end. If any of you are admins or IT, you're probably particularly interested in this. Some of you who maybe are just wanting to see it from the everyday productivity may not be as interested, but I'm going to walk through the whole thing pretty quickly and just give you an overview. So my settings is where you're going to manage your own information. You can update your username, your password, the basics, your time zone. Your admins can also prevent you from doing any of this. So if they want to lock things down, we have very granular permission levels that will force users to do or not do certain things. These are all my notifications. So if I'm a member of a workspace, I'm going to be able to set notifications for each of those. And we've got email notifications and in-app notifications. Email is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to get an email to the email address you have on file. In-app will show up right here for you where the little bell is. So if any of these actions occur in the workspace, you're going to be notified if you have these turned on, and you just simply turn them on like this and save them. Moving on to security, this will be coming soon, so when we first launch in beta, you won't be able to activate this, but soon after you will, and we'll let you know when that's ready. So you'll be able to store your usernames. You won't have to enter that every time. As you can tell, I have trouble typing, and I'm sure it's annoying for some of you as well. MultiFactor is what you saw when I logged in, where I had to enter the PIN, so you can enable that right here. And admins, just so you know, you can enable this for your users, and you can lock it down and force them to use it. So I'll show you how you would do that later. Update your password right here, then we'll move on to account settings, which this information down here you're really only going to see if you're an account admin. So as an account admin, you can update your account information. And then we can go on to Workspaces, which is where it gets interesting. So we have our Workspaces here. You can add new Workspaces by clicking this little plus button up here. You can see there's a few menus for that. So if you want to create a new workspace, you could do that right here. You can manage your workspaces and determine who you want to have in those by simply clicking Members, managing those members, and adding or removing whoever you don't want to have included. So if I want Sally to join this workspace, of course, we don't want to because it's Dr. Tester's private workspace. If we did, we could just click that and click Save. If you want to add or remove any fax lines, you would do that here. We see that we have one fax line that's assigned to the nurse's workstation, so I'm not going to grab that from them. But if we had any available fax lines, it would show as pending, and then you could assign it there. So we have our 3 workspaces showed up here. I'm a member of all 3 of these workspaces, which is why I saw the workspace when I logged in. If I wasn't a member, I would not see the workspace. Fax lines is just a simple overview of any fax lines you might have set up in your org. Now, you can have, workspaces can have a fax line attached, or they don't have to have a fax line attached. They can also have more than one fax line attached. So it's completely up to you how you want to configure and what works best for your particular organization. So you see I have a couple of users set up here. I've got Sally and Dan. And then we have our admins separated out. So Dr. Tester and myself are both admins in this organization. And then Sally is a contributor. Dan is also a contributor. And these are just different roles, which are just basically sets of permissions. We call them profiles, so I'll show you a little bit about that in just a second. But from the user management perspective, you can then add them to any workspaces you see here. So you'll notice that we provide you a couple of different ways to do things. So no matter where you are in the app, you can do what you need to do. You're not forced to go out of one screen into another to do that. So managing my users, I can select their notifications for them. So Dan's only assigned to the nurse's workspace, so I can enable Dan's notifications for him here so he doesn't have to do it later. I can also prevent him from changing that through a permission if I'd like to do that as an admin. So here's where I was telling you about security. I can go in and update Dan's password. I can also choose his security settings for him and lock him down if I want to as an admin. These are all the permissions, so you'll see we get very granular. So we do have a lot of people who are using our current SFAX product right now. It's very important to them that their users can't delete documents, can't print, can't export any PHI. So they will take away those permissions, and then I would just hit save, and that would enable it. So when Dan logs in, he's going to get a denied request if he tries to do any of these things. I think one of the more interesting ones, especially around healthcare, is the ability to allow or not allow a user to send without a cover page. So if any document that you send out, you want to have a cover page, you could remove this permission, and that would force them to send it with a cover page. More permissions around contacts, what you can do with your contacts, if you can even have private contacts, or if you can manage any shared contacts. I know contacts are very important to you guys in healthcare. We get requests around contacts all the time, so if you ever have any specific requests, please let us know. We like to know what you guys need and how we can help you. So moving on to settings, this is basically what Dan, the man user, can do in this component of the app. So if we want to allow Dan to change his password, we can keep that checked. If we want to take that away, we just simply say you can't change your password. Admins is just a subset of the users. These are your admins on your account. They have all permissions and they can't be taken away. And then the way we manage all of these users through the sets of permissions are profiles. So profiles are basically just groups of permissions, and if you want to see what the permissions are around any profile, you can do that right here, and you'll see what this profile can and can't do. You can also see any users who have set up under that particular profile. So let's go back to Workspaces and get to some of the good stuff that you probably are most interested in seeing. So if I go back here and I want to upload some documents, I can either right-click Upload or I can use this upload icon up here and choose my location. I'll go ahead and just do a right-click here. So if I want to select all of these documents, some are showing black because they're really not. Then they're all going to upload here for me. And what's happening now is they're being encrypted and being prepared for view. So once they're ready, you'll start to see these populate. And you'll know that your documents are ready. So we've got a BAA here, and just so you know, we do sign BAAs. We are very serious when it comes to HIPAA compliance, and if you sign up for an account and indicate that you're in the healthcare industry, we will prompt you to create a BAA, and we'll send you a reminder. You really need to have those on file. So if I have this BAA and I just wanted to sign it, we can go to Edit. This is our digital signature, which is our first annotation that we've added to this app. Those of you who may be using Fax are familiar that we have some other tools as well, and those will be added. And then we'll go well beyond that. So the idea of custom stamps and any other drawing tools we'll have. There's some really fun stuff that we have ready to go, so we'll be excited to show that to you. The signature we can just apply right here. You can move it, scale it if you want to, if it's too big or small. Pretty simple, and then just save it. So once that document is saved and updated, you'll have the digital signature ready for you, and then you can send that out if you'll see it signed there. So just to show you kind of how some of the other things you can do with the document, if we go to information, we can enter some basic information here. So once that information is added, it's all searchable. So if I'm searching for Tina now, she's going to come up here. If I move this document to another workspace, or somebody who is a member of my workspace moves it, and I come back looking for it, say we're going to move it to nurses. I come back later looking for it, and I cannot remember, I can't find it in my workspace. You can always go to the advanced search, which was in the upper, I did that a little quickly, so I want to show you where that was. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, we can search for any of the metadata that we entered, and you'll see it here. So we just double-click, it'll take it, and we'll say, okay, that's where it is. Now, if you weren't a member of the workspace that it was moved to, you'll at least get a message indicating what happened to that document. And this happens a lot in very collaborative environments. Things happen, you can't find things, so I like to give you an easy way to search and figure out what happened to those documents. So as we're doing kind of any activities with these documents, it's all being logged. Anytime I access the document, if I sign it, if I move it, anything that happens is going to be logged here. And this starts the exact time it comes into the system until it leaves the system. You can also filter here by date. So if you're looking for anything that happened in a particular date range, you can do that. So I still have this plan of care document up. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to send it to somebody. So I have a couple of contacts set up. We have Nick, and I want to show you the difference between a couple of contacts we have set up in the system. So Nick, as we showed you earlier when he was set up, he's a Scrypt contact. So it's indicated again by teal here, and Paula is not a Scrypt contact. So you can see that that's not. So you'll know when you send it out who's going to be Scrypt to Scrypt, who's not. You can also enter one-off numbers right here. So they don't have to be a contact. If you want to just enter a one-off number, you can do that. So here we're going to select where the fax comes from. The workstation or the workspace that has a fax line is set up here, so we're going to choose that. You can choose a cover page. You can have this information automatically populate as well if you want to. So you're going to get a message saying this is going in the outbox, and then it'll move to sent or failed upon completion. For faxes, we do make multiple attempts to deliver. For scripting, which means you're sending to another Scrypt contact, it's going to be processed immediately. So you'll see these documents when they're sitting in the outbox. And as they're processing, these are actually the two normal fax numbers that we sent to. If you'll go to the sent files, you see that the one to Nick completed instantly, so we don't even have to wait on that. That went through right away, but the other two faxes are actually going through the telco, dialing the fax machine, waiting for a response, and then they'll transmit, and then they will move to either the sent or failed folders here. And something to note, when you're actually scripting, if I script this document in full color, the script recipient's going to get it in full color as well. If you're sending normal faxes, they're going to get it in black and white because that's pretty typical what a fax machine can receive. So they are going to go out in black and white. If you're sending script to script, again, you're not going to get any kind of errors. You're not going to have to wait for the retries. If the fax machine on the other end is busy, you don't have to worry about that. So we're really encouraging people to use that script-to-script feature if you need to exchange documents back and forth with, anyone else in healthcare. Our script accounts are going to be free, our entry-level accounts, so anyone will be able to sign up for one, get a fax number, and immediately you'll be able to script. What we will have coming in the near future around scripting is the ability to send to use other identifiers, such as your mobile number or anyone else's mobile number when they sign up. We'll be able to script to that, and possibly some other features later, like NPI numbers, that would be helpful to you guys. So, again, just let us know if you have any preferences for that. And let me see if there's anything else interesting that I think you might want to know about before I hand it over to Alex to wrap it up. I think the only other thing I would want you to know is that your custom folders here are completely up to you. So you'll notice that we start with some just system folders, draft, outbox, sent, filled, and trash. But if you want to create any other folders, you can do that, and you can also have subfolders here. Pretty typical to Outlook, so you're probably pretty familiar with it, but just wanted to make clear I kind of skipped that step. But I think that about wraps it up. The user information is right here if you need help desk or sign out, just so you know if you sign up and you're looking for help, that's where you'd go for that. Alex, back to you.
Okay, so there we go. A sneak peek at Scrypt as a product. I gave a little overview in the beginning about the company and where we are, kind of the basis on the product and what Scrypt does. As I say, it's all around, for me, centralized, HIPAA compliant, document platform that lives in the cloud. We've had a couple of questions come in. One question was around, if an organization is using more of a consumer product, without naming them specifically, are they in HIPAA compliance? And obviously you have to do your own assessment of those things, but a lot of those, when you look at them, do not encrypt data at rest. And bear in mind, when we talk about encryption, we're encrypting both the data at rest and in transit, and then we're wrapping that in a SSL or a TLS pipe. So we're kind of encrypting it twice. We understand healthcare. We've been in healthcare a long time, and we understand that some of these, consumer products were never designed for healthcare. So we take a very different approach. And then we've got the whole kind of, audit trail piece, at a very granular level that just doesn't exist on some of these other consumer products. So thank you for that question. Another question I came around on the Contacts Salesforce integration. We're seeing an increasing number of people in healthcare using Salesforce. as a CRM tool, and that is definitely on our roadmap. Indeed, we're looking at a whole bunch of integrations, and that's why, if you've got some specific requirements, we'd love to hear from you at that email again, questions@scrypt.com. A third question I had was around, are the files stored locally? So we're showing this in the web environment, but there's going to be a desktop piece. And so the beauty about Scrypt is the files aren't stored locally, unlike some of these consumer file sharing pieces where they get decentralized and stored in every place you have that application installed. We keep it all centralized, encrypted in a safe haven, in a safe place, in the cloud. So it's a very different approach, but for us it brings levels of control and safety that just don't exist in other places. Mari hinted at pricing. There was a question on pricing. So initially is free. We're not even asking for your credit card. We limit a little bit on that free account, the number of documents you can store, and the number of pages you can fax back and forth. For the business plan and the enterprise plans, it's based on number of users you have and the number of pages that you fax, and that's based on credit. So if you have any questions, any other comments, then please come at questions@scrypt.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow up after this, and as soon as we're ready for the public beta, we're going to follow up on the public beta and send you an email when that's ready to go live, so you can get going on that. So thank you very much for your time. I think we're slightly ahead of schedule, and I appreciate you're busy, either eating lunch or getting back to work. So thanks very much. Speak to you soon.